Alright guys, Fox here, FXRC, and I'm back with the Arrma Mojave EXB. Definitely excited about this one. It's definitely taken way too long to just get this thing done. Been super busy, and I do apologize because I wanted to get a video out on this and have this thing ready and out bashing. And just that's not how things work out sometimes. So anyway, go over real quick, I guess, what you're looking at. Arrma Mojave EXB of course meaning Extreme Bash. This is a roller, Arrma's newest line, I guess, of these Extreme Bash rollers, the full option rollers, I guess they calling them. So you have to supply all your own electronics. A motor, ESC, a servo, receiver, and transmitter. And I've never actually owned Mojave. I've always kind of wanted one, but I just kind of put it off and ended up getting something else. So I never have. I have plenty of Arrmas, just not the Mojave. But I am glad I waited, because this is for sure the nicest version of the Mojave. So I'm glad I waited. So anyway, as far as the roller goes, it seems to be pretty. As far as I have yet to actually start taking this thing apart, so I will go into that more after I take it apart and see, as far as like quality control and stuff, how well I guess it was put together. But as far as the outside, I mean, I really wasn't crazily impressed with how well the stickers were put on. And I know, I guess the stickers are kind of a minor thing, but it does look like a child put the stickers on. Yeah, they're just very bubbly, and I'll get you in and you can really tell, but these are just, they're very bubbly. The I mean, even on the Mojave here, you can see an actual tear in the actual sticker, and then they just put it on anyway and just left this huge tear. But it's very bubbly, and that goes for, I mean, the majority of the stickers on this are just like that. So I mean, I know that the stickers are kind of minor, and they're all gonna get completely destroyed over time. I just would have liked to see maybe a better job putting the stickers on. Would have been nice. But like I said, I mean, I guess that's minor. But that's, some of the stickers were so bad on here, I did actually just take some off, because there were more stickers on here. There was like a D Boots on the side, and there was like I think a logo stickers like Spectrum and Tullen on this, and it just, they looked terrible, so I took them off. But I mean, as far as the outside goes, that's pretty much the only like real bad thing I guess I saw for what could be done better, I guess. But anyway, I'll get the body off, show you the inside, and kind of go over what I plan on doing. If you can kind of see what makes this thing pretty cool, and it is a lot of these beautiful 70-75 aluminum parts. So it's got the aluminum front and rear chassis bracing. It's got the 70-75 chassis, all beautifully etched, and it's too bad all this is just going to get scraped right off, but it's nice that it's there. And it's got the 70-75 shock towers in the front and the rear. It's also got an actual, has the aluminum servo mount, as well as the upper arm mount here. The I think it's the front upper rear they call it, or the front upper is all aluminum, as well as the whole front pin system is different, opposed to the screw that was in the past. The pin actually being a screw, it's now just a pin that has a lock screw here that actually holds the pin in, which should stop it from the pin actually backing out. M2C did make a fix for that. That worked out really well in all my other Arrmas. So I mean, it's nice to see they just decided to fix it. So anyway, I think there's obviously limited slip diffs. There's a few changes with really the EXB. It's got sealed bearings throughout, although I think that's one of the things that they're going to start doing in all of their V5 line. So I can't really tell you what to compare to this from the V5, you know, because I haven't actually seen it. I've seen the videos on them, and they did carry some things over from the EXB, but there's quite a bit that it doesn't have. You know, it doesn't have the aluminum chassis bracing. It doesn't have the 7075 shock towers or chassis. So I mean, this is definitely still worth getting, especially if you want to put your own electronics in, for sure. This is probably definitely the way to go. But I guess it depends on what you plan on doing. You know, I would think if you're gonna just completely upgrade the thing anyway, then I don't know what you know. It's hard to say. But this is, anyway, I think the best route for me. And I'm actually going to do something a little different on this one than what I normally do. And I'm not going to go too crazy. For a couple reasons. Number one reason is the Mojave line, I think anyway, was definitely... and it still had its flaws, but for a lot of reasons was one of the 6S line's most durable rigs. You know, with the exception of the super long chassis coupled with the plastic chassis bracing, really, and then I guess even the crappy shock towers. But I don't even know if it was that much of a problem in the Mojave. They're pretty well protected under this huge body. So I think its major weaknesses were really just the crappy arm H-arm mounts, and then the chassis with the crappy chassis bracing. But I think even with the other aluminum chassis, I think if you just upgraded to aluminum chassis bracings, the Mojave was a pretty rugged rig. So anyway, I'm gonna go a little differently on this one than I did kind of with my other EXB. And I'm actually gonna give these shock towers and this chassis a chance. I'm gonna see how well it holds up, and I'm not just gonna swap it out. You know, because they are nice, and I think with this particular rig, the Mojave, I really think that these could be enough. So I'm I guess eager to find out. So I mean, worst case scenario, you bend one and you got to get it fixed and get it upgrade anyway. So I'm gonna give it a chance. So as far as that goes, I'm not going to do what I normally do. Now, I am still going to do some things, you know, because I just can't help it, you know. But first, I guess we can talk about my electronics. And I'm going to actually go with the Mamba Monster 8S ESC. Absolute dynamite ESC. You know, for its class, it's probably the best. It's really just amazing. And then I'm going to couple that with this beautiful Castle 17 series. This is the 1650 KV. I think, yeah, the 1717, fully censored. So the whole system is going to be fully censored, as well as 8S capable. You know, I tried this in my Creighton EXB, and I never really intending on running it on 8S, just because I think that with the 8S batteries, it'd just be too heavy. It's, you know, for jumping and stuff like that, the shocks, I just don't think the whole thing is really. But with this one just being mostly a runner, I mean, not saying it's not going to jump and stuff, but I think 8S is definitely more feasible for this one, for sure. So I do plan on actually seeing what 8S is going to do in this. I think it's going to be pretty crazy. So anyway, I got these two beautiful motor and ESC going in, and then I have a, what else I got here? I'm gonna put this beautiful Savox SB2290 SG. I think SG means steel gear, and this is just an amazing servo. This is not the waterproof version. I did open it up and I soaked the inside with some Corrosion X. Which is not, I'm sure is going to void my warranty, but it's not going to waterproof it for sure. But the reason I did that opposed to what is it, conformal coating, or you know, is because once you open up this back here, you can actually get to one of the actual circuit boards, but there's other circuit boards you cannot get to. And to try to get that conformal coating is just impossible. So I just squirt that crap in here. And I've done this now with a few different ESCs. Actually quite a few. And I've actually had really good luck with it so far. You know, do it at your own risk. I'm not, you know, but it seems to be working out pretty good for me so far on keeping stuff waterproof. I'm sure it doesn't last forever, but it's, you know, I'm not, you know, submerging these vehicles by any means. Really, I'm not even, although winter is coming, and I'm sure it's going to get some moisture on it, so we'll see what happens, I guess. Anyway, motor, ESC, and I'm going to run this on my Spectrum DX5C. Probably with just like a 3-channel sport receiver. I have one somewhere, but anyway. Now, that's electronics, and what else? So, now like I said, I'm not going to go crazy on this, and I want to try to run this kind of, you know, as much of like this as possible, I guess, should I say, or not as possible, because you could just run it with the electronics in this, but I do feel like I have to do some things, just because I can't help it. And something I do to all of my Arrmas, all my Arrma A scale, even though I guess this is not an A scale, I think they call this a 7th scale maybe, but is, anyway, aluminum aluminum bulkheads, front and rear. You know, I think it just really completely makes the vehicle so much stronger, being the hub of the front and the rear of the vehicle, meaning these bulkheads, or your bulkhead, is pretty much what everything is going to screw into. So it's going to be the hub of the rear of the vehicle as well as the hub of the front. And when you're screwing that into aluminum, I think for as far as a basher goes, that's probably just the way to go. It just seems to be so much stronger. Now, as a disclaimer, you're obviously adding weight, and that's not always a good thing for a vehicle to add weight. So yeah, you're adding strength, but you're also adding weight, and this is definitely a dance that I've been doing with these vehicles now for a while. You know, how strong to the weight do you need it? You know, because I mean, really, if you keep this thing as light as possible, all these composite pieces would probably be more than sufficient, you know. But once you start adding weight, yeah, you know. So anyway, like I said, it's kind of a dance. So anyway, beautiful hot racing aluminum bulkheads, something I do to all my Arrmas. And then the other thing would be the beautiful here hot racing aluminum steering blocks for the front, look at that, as well as for the rear. Now, in most of the 8CL Arrmas, the front aluminum front steering blocks are just, I think, super important. They're just, the composite ones, although they are strong and they do, you know, kind of sometimes last, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot. They do tend to be trouble. You just end up having trouble either with getting these to screw in onto the aluminum, to screw in on the composite, or the most pain in the butt thing is the pivot balls pulling out of the actual steering block. They'll pull right out, and then you got to take the whole side off to get that ball to come back and put it back through the right way. It's just a huge pain in the butt. And I just always started putting aluminum in the front. Now the rear, not so important. You know, these rear ones are pretty strong. You know, I don't know if I've ever really had any problems with the composite rears. But anyway, I'm doing the front. Might as well do the rears. Love these beautiful hot racing. You know, now there is a bunch of companies out there that, or not a bunch, but there is a few that make the front and rear of these the steering blocks, as well as the rear hubs. You know, I have found that these hot racing are really, for the price, they're good. They're really good for what you're getting. You know, Vitavon does make some that I have actually been considering trying. You know, but I've always kind of leaned towards the hot racing because they are slightly cheaper, but they have these carbon fiber parts on here, and where I was talking about how you're always trying to dance with the weight and trying to keep the weight down, and whereas if this was all solid aluminum, well, it's going to be a heavier part. So I don't know if, I mean, these tiny little bits going to make that much of a difference, but you know, and honestly, I've never had a problem with these carbon fiber parts ever breaking. And I have a set on literally every single Arrma I own. I have a set of these, and they just work flawlessly. So I love them. I'm gonna keep using them, keep putting them on. So anyway, those are the part numbers if you're interested. Moving on. So front. What else I got here? Because this is the EXB, it has these beautiful aluminum chassis braces, front and rear, that I believe are also 70-75. So I mean, so that whole system is going to be really, really strong. So I don't think that this is really necessary, but I do, in the fact that because I am not actually upgrading my chassis in this time, because normally I would just go ahead, get an M2C 4mm chassis and be done with it, never have to worry about it again. And I still do end up doing this anyway, but because I'm not, I think it's probably a little bit more important. But anyway, I have a front and rear. These are the mounts for the actual tower to tower brace. This brace here, this is the front and this is the rear mounts, as well as the hot racing. These actually go onto the end of the bar itself, the actual tower to tower. And these are actually off of another, these are off from one of my Creightons, my V4 Creighton that I had them on, because I decided to upgrade this bar actually to carbon fiber, and only because I could not find these anywhere in stock that weren't already attached to a carbon fiber rod. So I just bought the whole thing with the carbon fiber rod, put it on the Creighton, took the ones I had on the Creighton off of this. You know, because, and I didn't do carbon fiber in this because I was more conscious about the weight on that one. I've been trying to actually get the weight down on that one a little bit, so I don't have to upgrade the motor or do something with that. So anyway, that's what these are off of. So they're not brand new, but they're still pretty good shape. Anyway, if you're interested in the part numbers, that should be, there they are. You can get a good focus on them there. Now, this whole middle piece here is all composite. And the motor mount in there, if you can see it, is all beautiful aluminum. But the back side here It's kind of hard to see there, but this is all composite as well as the top of it, and that's pretty much just your center diff bulkhead, I guess, or the center diff housing. This is all going to be composite. I'm actually going to make that all aluminum, so I have the side piece there is aluminum as well as the top. There's the part number for that. And then this is something I just put on to all of my Arrmas. Is this beautiful little hot racing servo horn with the whole linkage there. You know, this thing actually does come with a beautiful, or very nice actually, aluminum servo horn that does work very, very well. This one's actually a clamping one, and then it just replaces this little composite piece here with actual aluminum. So it's definitely nicer. It's not a lot of money, so I like to do it. And then, last but not least, I have all of these hot racing A-arm mounts there. It's, you know, 2 for the front and 2 for the rear. I don't need the upper because this one has the aluminum already. Now, I don't know exactly what I know for sure I'll be able to use this one because I know that this is all solid or mostly composite anyway. I know for sure the front and rear I will, but as far as the front and the rear, because of these bumpers, I'm pretty sure I'm definitely going to be able to use the rear front. I know that, but the front and the rear, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finagle these into them. I might be able to, and if I can, I will. But I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have to wait to actually take it apart, and then I'll find out. Normally, especially with these parts, I would definitely be doing M2C. Hopefully, I don't know if they're going to come out with something now that's more compatible with the EXB line, because their whole system right now doesn't quite work with the EXB line. One, because the whole this front bumper utilizes these two 3-ohm bolts, whereas the M2C hinge pin system does not. So that's hence why I have to use these hot racing. Anyway, that's about it for what I'm going to be putting into this. So now I'm going to rip this thing down. I'll get everything into it. Obviously, I'm going to put all of the aluminum parts in that I want to put in first, and then I'll go ahead and put my electronics. And hopefully we can get this thing out and get a bash. We'll do some quality control and see how well it was put together. Hopefully it was put together well. Alright guys, well, there it is. All done. Took a little bit longer than I guess I liked it to, but I got it all done. So, because I definitely had to strip it all down and put it back together for the most part. Mostly because I did put in these aluminum bulkheads. So you do have to take quite a bit off to get these in here, but they do look nice, and it should help the strength exponentially. Just look at all those beautiful aluminum parts. I was able to get all of those hot racing A-arm hinge pin mounts in there. The rear actually just fit perfectly right in with the plastic little piece back here. Just fit right in, no problem. The front one, I actually had to grind out a little bit of these little nubs on the inside so it would fit, but I did end up squeezing it in, so it was nice that I was able to get that in there, which actually gives me hope that I can probably actually do the same thing to the Creighton EXB, so that's nice. So managed to have all the aluminum bracing. Should be pretty strong. Beautiful. I I did notice a couple of things, I guess, in the quality control. The diff fluids were kind of a little bit low, but this one did have all the discs in the limited slip discs in all of the diffs, so I'm glad that that was there. It did seem like the fluid was a little bit low. I'm not sure with the discs how much really fluid's supposed to be in them, but I tried to squeeze a little bit more in anyway and see what happens. So anyway, besides that, you definitely got to heat up a lot of the screws, because they still put quite a bit of Loctite on things. So especially trying to get the screws out of here, you definitely got to heat them up, as well as that servo mount. You do want to heat those screws up quite a bit to try to break that Loctite loose. What else? This one does have the upgraded shock mounts. Because it has those nice the standoffs here. It has a nice shiny metal, so I'm assuming it's an upgraded standoff, opposed to, because the Creighton EXB did not have those. So I don't know why they do things on one and not the other. This one did not have the upgraded droop screws, whereas the Creighton EXB did. So that this one has the droop screws that you know, they just a regular, like a screw that just kind of digs into the chassis. So I'm gonna have to swap those out here probably. I think that's this one doesn't have the upgraded rear pins here, the lower shock pins. These are just the same shock pins that were in the other one, so I don't know what makes them do change on some things and not the others. I don't know, it might be just because this one, the EXB Creighton had different H-arms, so maybe that's why, but I would have liked to see that upgrade also. So anyway, it's all done, so I can't wait to get this thing out. Look at that beautiful motor in ESC. This thing's going to be an absolute animal on 6S. I can only imagine just going to be crazy on 8S. I can't wait. I did go with a 19.2 Techno pinion. I love these Techno pinions. They're amazing. Definitely my favorite. Mostly just, I mean, they're great, but they also have that larger lock nut there. So nice. What else? So this, if you want to run this censored, or at least the way this is, you had to use a longer sensor wire. The one that comes with it was nowhere near long enough to reach all the way over to this side. So you do need a longer sensor wire. Not unless you know somehow move the. I'm sure if this ESC was maybe spun around the other way, maybe it would work better. But the way it's right now, I definitely needed a longer sensor wire, because I do want to run this censored. And I really think that was about it that I can think of. You know, take it all in. Look at this beautiful aluminum and carbon fiber rear hubs, as well as aluminum and carbon fiber hot racing steering blocks. Absolutely stunning. They always look so nice when you first put them in. Just beautiful. All these beautiful aluminum parts. All this should definitely strengthen up this chassis exponentially. So I definitely think I should give this chassis a chance. Hopefully it works out. So all aluminum. Look at that. I had high hopes for this aluminum servo mount, you know, but believe it or not, actually when this servo was pushed all the way out, there was still a little bit of wiggle there in that servo mount. So no, I did not adjust the end points yet, so that might have had something to do with it, and it might not be so bad once I do that. So we'll see. You know, I'm surprised to see any wiggle in it, but there was definitely a tiny bit. So really, that was about it. So anyway, I know what one of the biggest flaws, I guess, on the EXB was always the inner hex on the wheel here. This always strips out And I can see why, because there's really not a lot of meat in there for that hex to catch. So I can definitely see why it would definitely strip out. I don't know why they didn't do something to fix that, seeing as how it seems like it's a pretty common problem. And it's too bad too, because these tires look just absolutely amazing. They got tons and tons of knob and grip, so that's too bad. Now I do have a set of these Proline Badland 2.8 belted tires that the diameter is just slightly smaller, but not much. It's very, very little. So I think I could get away on the width is actually the same. So I definitely can get away with running these if I do have a problem with these. These should be a good. The only bad part is that they're not a short course truck, whereas because the inside diameter is smaller than the outside, and the inside has a much larger circumference, whereas this is actually the same on both. So that would be the only actual flaw. I don't know how much it would affect it, but I'm sure there's a reason why they have that in the short course trucks like that. So I guess only time will tell. But anyway, this was definitely a long video. So if you stuck around, thank you so much for watching. I'm super looking forward to getting this thing out and just ripping on it and seeing what it's capable of. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is Fox, FXRC. Bye.